back to Word Blindness Dyslexia Exposed. This is our 100th episode, and I'm here with my co-host, Brent Sopel. How are you today on a Monday?
As Vince would say, it's Canadians. We all hate Canadians because everybody hates Mondays. No, that's what they call them. On the police force, they called us Mondays.
Oh, really? Called the Canadians Mondays?
Mm-hmm.
See, I particularly like Monday. Now, I didn't always like a Monday, but I actually don't mind a Monday.
No.
I don't mind a Monday. Because it's what I like what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I think there's different things, but that's not what we're going to talk about today, because we're going to kind of reminisce, because it is 100 episodes. Like, that is, I think I shared with you, there are so many podcasts out there, and I didn't get the statistics because I was like, you know, me and math, I'm not going to be fucking doing statistics.
Yeah.
But there is a very big percentage of podcasters that never get to 100. It's a very small percentage that do.
100's a lot.
100's a lot. And I can't believe it's 100. This one went really fast. I know when I did Your Next Stop and I hit 100, I remember it felt like, oh my God, like this came up out of nowhere. I was like, wait, I wonder what episode we're on. I was like, holy shit.
How many did you end up with at Your Next Stop?
There was over almost 500.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With bonus episodes, and then the live stuff that I did with the NFL. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that was a lot. But the first 100, I just remember being like I think at like 30, I was like, oh, I have to be close, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm not close. Okay, this is so interesting. I think I said to you like a month ago, I was like, oh, I'm going to track to see where we are, and had like really no thought that we were close to 100. And then was like, oh my God, we're like super, super close.
Yeah, I would never guessed it was
right.
It was at 100 or surprising we're here already.
I know. And the thing that I have to say, what I'm most thankful for is the healing that I think I did, that I didn't realize I needed to do, getting in touch with things that from being dyslexic and, ADHD and all these things, that I kind of was like, yeah, it is what it is. I look at the bright side. I always see positive, but not really digging into that. I'm really, really, really thankful for you and this platform to be able to do that. Likewise,
it's the understanding. I never had the understanding to the depth that I have now. Never had really any understanding till you had more understanding into this world than I did. Obviously, I didn't get diagnosed at 32, but it was in your house. So enter this kind of episode 1, you had way more understanding in this world.
I had the positive understanding. I had the acknowledging of the world and all the hoops and all the frustrations, obviously with Montgomery being, when we started this, I think he was sophomore, junior year. Cause now I don't even know. I can't, it was ending his sophomore year, going into his junior year.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy, because now he's going into a sophomore year of college. Like, so if we really break it down.
He's leaving soon. Speaking of, isn't he leaving soon?
He is leaving soon. And I've been so busy this summer. Like, he is, he's leaving. We're going to take him back because we'll go to Charlotte and spend some time with the cousins. He moves in the 11th. So yeah, like 2 weeks. But the awareness of every time school started, right? I mean, if we think about, I was actually thinking, I got to do yoga today. So it was like kind of taking it back to old time. Like, I would do yoga, right? I would have wet hair. I still have a little wet hair in the back. I dried a little bit of it. Would go to yoga. I met you kind of when my whole yoga, I was connecting with yoga too. So it was like a very interesting time in my life, because it was like a lot of growth that I didn't realize I was coming into or needing, because I was like, oh yeah, this is great. But the thing that was very interesting is you being able to being like, well, you're anxious because of all of this from school. And I was like, yeah, I always knew. And Dan always being like 3 weeks before school starts, like, he's like, you turn into something different. And it was just putting the words, but having the understanding of you being like, well, this is why you're doing it. Even though internally I knew obviously why I was doing it, but you were able to kind of break it down, I think is some of my favorite things. And having the listeners be able to be there and listen to it. And how many people connect with us, thanking us for explaining what we've gone through and our personal experiences because they don't feel alone. We've got DMs all the time. Thank you for that. I don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah, we're not the only kid in the chair.
Right.
There's millions of kids in that chair, and there's millions of people are feeling the same way. And I've always said that talking about my story is not about me. It's about who might resonate, because I'm not the only one. And, obviously, clearly, the people I've talked to, like, oh, thank you, because that's the difference between us and the foundation and what we do and what's going on out there is, we talk about this all the time, is, dyslexics advocating for dyslexics. That's, unfortunately, that's not what's going out there, and that's what's not being received, and that's what's not being pushed through the channels of the education system, the district or the superintendent or the special ed teacher, or whoever you're dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling you to do something that they have no clue if that's going to work or not work, because they don't have it. And I think that's probably the biggest factor and the biggest difference, that we've walked that path.
Yes. And then the epiphanies that we've kind of both have, you figuring out why you didn't take the pregame nap, who in your family was dyslexic. I mean, we could go on and on. It was like, wait, I didn't connect those dots until we just got into a deeper conversation on a different level because of the understanding.
Yeah, that pregame nap thing was, it took, I think it was a couple of years ago we put it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No clue. I had no idea why, but that's just the how smart we are and how aware we are that we're different, and how we do, like Montgomery, obviously memorizing. I was telling somebody the other day, we know at a young age that we're different. It's like, what do you mean? How can you tell? I'm like, nah, just tell him a story about you and how he's always pointing at signs when you're in the city, and finding out that he was just memorizing. And the guy kind of looked at me and stopped and goes, what? I'm like, yeah, that's how young, or that's how young we know. We know we're different, but we don't know why and what that means, or we just know that we don't fit in with, with everybody else, whatever that is, relating or reading or friends, or we just know that we're different.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, that's the last thing you want.
Right.
Right. I just want to fit in.
Right.
I just want to be cool. I just want, the cute girl in the corner when I'm in grade 6 to like me. I just want to go to the playground and play kickball with my friends. Well, a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Right, because you're getting pulled out, or you have to stay in for lunch because you got to do the extra reading, or you didn't finish it, so then you got to stay and do the extra. And it's like, oh my God, the fights and the arguments and the tools that we've been able to give parents going into IEPs is another thing that, I've had a couple parents, more than a couple, but say, the person on the other side was like, who did you talk to? Why, how do you know these things? And, especially in our district, they're like, oh boy, she got in your ear. But it's because we don't speak up because we don't know. And, as a parent, when you're going through this and you feel so lonely, and, I think that's the other thing, being able to talk about our journeys from the beginning and then being able to share them with others and then having those dots connect as we are talking is really, really special thing. And not a lot of people ever get that experience to be able to do that. They can see therapy or do other things like that, but this is such a beautiful thing for so many people. And the fact that we both were like, if you want to listen, you weren't very willing, but it took a little pressure to convince you that I knew, from that time I interviewed you, that you had something bigger to share and that more people would connect with it if we were able to sit down and talk things through, because that's how we process things, right? That's how we put dots together. And so for others to be able to listen to it and say, oh my gosh, okay, now I feel like I'm not alone. Now I feel like I have the tools to be able to fight a little bit more because of this platform. That's a really, really special thing.
Well, like you said, in your area, she got in your ear. Oh boy, here we go. It's, unfortunately, that's the comments that do arise.
Yeah, because it's annoying.
It's annoying. It's when you come with more information and know more than they do, because they don't have it, and it's an annoying conversation. It's a frustrating conversation. It's a bullshit comment, but unfortunately, that's where we are in the age of school. That's why we do what we do, and that's why we talk about the things we talk about for that reason. So that that kid doesn't get pushed aside.
Mm-hmm. And as we're talking, I have all
how many rocks?
So I just recently found my shell, and I love this because it's a little hollow, so I can just go like this, and it's like so just keeps my brain. And then all of these, I have a lot, and I just hold them underneath the desk.
Is that a crystal?
It is.
Huh.
And then I have a green one.
Elizabeth bought a crystal too last night.
Oh, really?
A deodorant.
Oh yeah, those work well. I actually have the best deodorant. It's sage and it's a spray, but that's not what we're talking. But it's all natural, and I've only used it now for 3 years. Never had to use anything else.
Yeah, I know. She came home.
I know that crystal. Yeah,
she came home from Whole Foods and there's a crystal on the counter. I'm like, it's my deodorant. I don't want to smell. I'm like, you don't. But
my dad has used that crystal. I think one of my sisters has used it.
I guess that's a hot topic at yoga.
I was going to say
crystal.
Totally, it is. It's because it's a natural thing, so you're not putting chemicals into your body. And right now, it's it's important. But that's for a different podcast.
Oh no, and then she wanted candy, but all they had was what was the chocolates? The 4 Real.
No, real. Oh wait, hold on, not True Fruit.
Real shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called what is that called though? Hold on, Real True Real. No, I that is the best though. It is now when you don't have the regular candy. Yeah. And then all of the podcasts.
She was mad she didn't come home with any treats because that wasn't treats.
Yeah. Well, how about all the podcasts that you showed your candy and all your bags of your licorice and whatever else you had, or gummies, or I don't even know what you had. What were those?
I always had treats.
Yeah, you always under your desk. But I think just the fact that we've had enough things to talk about and we have so many more things to talk about.
Right.
We're just getting started. Like,
well, that's the crazy point to this where, you said most people don't get to 100 because they're picking a topic while there isn't, 100. You started, you think there's thousands of conversations, but there isn't. Well, unfortunately in this, and it is unfortunately, and it's the second most common thing in the world, there shouldn't be needed to be this much conversation, but that's where we are to change the world for the kid in the chair. That's how many conversations that are out there too, that we've had and to be had, like you said.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing is like coming up with the kid in the chair, right? We always had something, but then we gave it a name. We gave that kid, kept saying the kid, right? And it was like, we came up and really tagged that as something very tangible because we both were the kid in the chair, right? We know so many kids in the chair that you just, it's a hard place to be when you're not being seen and heard, or you're just told you're dumb, or you're not trying, or you're not focused enough, and
especially
all these different things.
School coming,
Yeah. I met a plane friend recently.
You always do.
And they actually were asking, they had a stutter. And it reminded me of some other conversations we've had with other people. So they said
they have or had?
They had one, and they worked really, really hard to not do it. But they said when we were talking about dyslexia and reading out loud, like I felt his, he totally tensed up, and he didn't know that I realized he tensed up, kind of thing. So I was like, I wonder where this is going to go.
Yeah.
So I, shared some of the stories, and he said, is there association with dyslexia and stuttering? And I said, no. I said, but a lot of people that have a stutter or had a stutter can relate to some of the struggles that we've gone through in school because of, having to stand up and read out loud. And he said, yeah. He goes, I don't even like to talk about it. He's like, you count, right? You count. And then Johnny gets the second time. And I was like, oh my God, that's totally what I say every single time. Because that happened so many times, right? They're like, Johnny, actually read another one. You did a great job. And then you've already counted and you're not learning.
That was a short one. Just go take another one.
Yeah. And you're like, fuck. And then you got to recount and then and then you don't get enough time to read it. And it's like, I can get anxiety even thinking about it. And it just was interesting because, he was like, okay, I get it. I get it from that standpoint. I didn't have a hard time reading other than my stutter. And I said, well, that's a hard time reading, right? Because that makes me anxious in itself, right? Because I've heard people stutter and you're like sitting there like, oh, you want to help them, but then you're like, oh, no, oh, this is so uncomfortable, right? But it's the same sort of feeling as someone trying to read and can't read, or trying to sound out a word or not saying the right word, or your mind just goes blank. And us coming up with the 5 Ds, that's the other thing. Right?
Didn't you find somewhere else it was a 5 Ds?
Do you want me to tell you where I found it?
Was that in the state of New York?
Yeah. I had to take that sexually harassing, whatever, that sexually harassed New York thing. And I was like, what are they saying? 5 Ds? And then I was like, motherfuckers, that's ours. Yeah, I forgot what is it was. I don't know, some bullshit.
I don't know. I just remember you saying that somebody else is using the 5 Ds.
Yeah. It was
New York State doesn't get a chance to.
No, they can go. Yeah, no. And especially what don't even get me started on that. That test I had to take that was for sexually harassing, but also people with disabilities. And I had to read it and take a quiz. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, bullshit, because I shouldn't be having to do this with dyslexia. I was like, it was terrible.
Was it timed?
No, but it was like an hour. And if you lagged, it wasn't timed. But if you took too long. It like nudged, whatever. It was sucked. I hated it. It really, I actually, no, I was going to say something that I'm not going to say because it's not PC, but I was like, yeah, I had a lot of choice words for that fucking test. So, I mean, that we came up with the 5Ds and you know, we grew on the whole neurodiversity word, and then we were able to ask other guests what their feelings were on that. And I kind of loved that because a lot of them, you know, were like, well, no, I like it because, and then when they heard what we said, they were like, oh, all right, now I got to think about it, right?
Yeah. I think most, Dr. Jacob, I think, was the most on our side off the start than everybody else. You know?
Yeah, I actually have his clip coming out that he talks about why he doesn't like neurodiversity. It's actually really good. I'm excited. I'll put that on social media.
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, that's just the buzzwords, saying the right thing, almost pretending you're doing, doing it for the right reasons and for the kid, and people kind of buying in and.
Yep. And then how many, this is another thing that I love to talk about. Well, not love. That's probably not the right word. But how many people have said, oh, we would love to be on the podcast, and then kind of at the last minute get a little bit of cold feet?
A lot of people. Oh yeah, no problem. Till they actually think about it. What?
Or listen to one of our episodes, and then they're like, oh shit, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, they had, all good intentions. Till they realize that they're going to have to peel back the onion layer one at a time, and how many of them weren't ready to do that?
Which, I mean, I really believe a lot of them will come back around. The other is where some guests didn't do any research and we're like, yeah, I totally love it. And they start talking very positive. Not that we don't love that, because obviously that's, you know, I'm posy pocket pants or whatever, whatever it is. And then being like, you know what? I guess I did have some of those shit things, but I don't want to talk about that. I put that in the bag, and we're like, well, but this is where people need to hear, because they need to relate to it. They need to be like, oh, okay, you went through that too. It doesn't feel good. It feels shit, but we need to talk about it. And that's where, you know, again, when we first started, I shared with you, I remember after you finally said yes, and then I got a little anxiety because I was like, shit, he's very real about stuff that he talks about. Am I ready to like wanting to do that? Am I going to be able to navigate some of this in a positive way as well? And blah, blah, blah. And I remember sitting in yoga or laying in yoga. I actually remembered the exact time. And I just said, I'm not going to put any expectations on it. And I said that to you too. There's no expectations. Let's just see where it goes. Like, we have no idea. Because that was before we even had a name, word blindness. I got so excited, and I sent you 35.
Using the name.
You were like, oh shit. Okay. I said yes. And she's full on in.
You and that name are after it. And here we go. And boom. Yeah.
I was so excited. That's one of the things I love. I love coming up with kids' names, dogs' names, names. I love and I don't know what it is. A word to me, even though with dyslexia, so it's like a very interesting thing. And I've never actually put this together right now, but a word to me can be so powerful and have so much meaning. Just 2 words, 1 word, 3 words, whatever it is, it's something that can resonate with someone in a different way. I mean, I think that's why I like love stories and all of that. But I think at one point I said to you, okay, let's pause on the name, because we had like,
no, you had, I didn't have any name.
You're like, I don't know.
I don't care.
But then when I sent you the list and word blindness was on there, and then I gave you a little of the history, because then I started researching.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you did.
And then I was like, wait, I want this to have more than just, it just to be a name. I want it to mean something. And so then I started researching dyslexia and then word blindness. And I was like, oh, you know what? I really like that. So I think I still have it in my notes. I think I sent you like, remember I tried to do shared notes. You're like, I don't want to share notes.
No, and, you know, to like the word blindness not to be taken, and that's what it was named.
Right. In the 1800s.
It just tells you, you know, you go and start a business, you go start anything else. It's that common, you know. You go on GoDaddy, and all the common ones are taken, right? Like that's how much this stuff isn't talked about for us in the dyslexic world. For that name, word blindness, not to be taken is, when you gave me the background, I'm like, really? What?
I know. Right. But then I tried to trademark it, and then they wouldn't, because it's a term. You can't trademark a term.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, fuck off.
Close enough.
Totally. But right. I was like, what? All right. Okay. But because it was a German eye doctor, the one that determined it. And so then that was kind of interesting to learn a little bit about it. But then it was also really, I feel like both of us, like, it made me sad to think that it's been around as long as it's been around, and that we still are where we are, and we still have the scars and the, you know, the trauma from it. Then got me angry, because then I was like, well, wait a second. And everyone's, we've come so far, right? We've done so much research. And then then we would get even more pissed, because it's like, yeah, you're researching and it's not getting to the kid in the chair. And that's how we then kind of came up with that. It's like, well, no, you were doing, everyone's researching. Oh, you guys should talk to this PhD, and oh, you should talk to this. They're studying this, and this is how it looks. And we were like, everyone's missing the fucking point. Like, how is this?
Sad was for sure the first feeling from it all. Like, it's sad that this name's still around, and these conversations hadn't been had yet. And definitely anger is part. Was part of that. Again, it's the second most common thing in the world, and nobody's having these conversations, and the people who don't have it are telling us what to do. Anger is just a huge portion of it all.
Because then that's where, really, as we continued the conversations, and then all the time, and every subject and everything that would come up, and it was like, this is so, we obviously knew it was so much bigger than it is, but, like, as you always say, peeling back the layers, peeling back the layers of the conversations, peeling back the layers of people's experiences. And the fact that even, like, now, even though Montgomery, was in a private school, like when we had Bradley and Montgomery on, there was a couple things that really struck me, where, Bradley still doesn't love to let people know that he struggles, right? And Montgomery, like, embraces it and talks about it, but they still have scars from school, right? And we all do. Everyone going through school is going to have something, but it's like the public school system, really just all school systems, how fucking broken it is, and how much work that needs to be done. So if we can do a little bit of it by sharing stories.
And the other one that's really hurt, you always, amazing how many people that have it that don't talk about it, or don't get involved, or don't say anything about it, or don't won't be part of the foundation, or our conversation. It's amazing how many when people won't. Oh, my daughter, or my son, or I did fine, or and that's the end of the conversation. To have a couple conversations with them, like, oh, well, maybe I didn't, but won't talk about it.
Right.
And it hurts because, those are the people that we need to have these conversations.
Yeah. Exactly.
If they don't have them, where do we start? And that's, I guess, we're kind of the groundbreaker of these conversations, because you don't see too many of them out there.
Mm-mm.
There's podcasts about different things, but as you're doing your research and researching the name, you weren't finding a lot of what we're talking about out there.
Mm-mm. No, it's all about the systems and how you can help and what there's no one. And it's not easy talking about hard things. It's not easy talking about, being called retarded in your freshman year. It's not easy for you to say, yeah, I feel dumb every day, or, it's no one likes to talk about
sure
this.
Wore in the hat I got in. Excuse me, I'm a little slow. I'm not a little slow. I'm just retarded.
Well, Penelope said you're allowed to say it because you're dyslexic.
Right. That's what I say. How's that? I didn't call anybody else retarded.
You're calling yourself, right? And your dog.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that one. Remember, I wanted to call her name her turd, because that's definitely her.
And then for us to be able to also break down, I think another thing that I really loved is that we were able to break down the 5Ds more because of our own experiences in there. But then also me, because obviously I was diagnosed with ADHD and then dyslexia later, but they didn't do dysgraphia and dyscalculia when I was, piecing things together. And it's like, oh my God, like that's so, I'm not just bad in math. And dysgraphia, learning more about all the different kind of forms of it. I would never have gotten Truman tested, right? If I wasn't doing this work with you guys, and if we didn't have the podcast, because I've been like, well, he still gets really good grades, but as he got into AP classes and things got harder is when I saw him start struggling. And I was like, well, he doesn't have to struggle, right? Like this is as much. Things are going to be hard, but like, let's get where you get the accommodations. And then talking about the neuropsychs, it's a roadmap, right? It's how you learn where your strengths and where your weaknesses are. And everyone really should have the ability to be able to get one. And there's so much money, right? I mean, we've just recently have been really diving into that. Some state, it's crazy the amount of money, and these kids that are falling through the cracks because their families don't have the means or the finances or the knowledge. And they're, oh, well, the school's going to do it. And with the schools saying specific learning disabilities and all the states that can't do it, and learning about all of what we know to be able to share with others.
Yeah, that, how many people have asked us, hey, what's dyscalculia? What's dysgraphia? After we started having these conversations. I've never heard that. I've heard of dyslexia or ADHD. What do you mean? What's that? Having to break that down, and the neuropsychs, and how many different neuropsychs there are. The waiting lists. School psychologists diagnosing them with what they want. It's
specified learning disability. And then the poor teachers that have no tools.
No, that's you don't teach them. Everybody wants to teach dyslexic, but they don't understand this. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have understanding until somebody teaches you what we're talking about, and being willing to listen.
Willing to listen. That's the thing. So many people say they want to help and do this, but are they really listening? Are they really listening to what the parents need for the kid, what the kid needs, or are they going through their checklist and their book? Oh, well, this is what we have to do. This is what we're told to do. Right. So, it's a very broken.
Yeah, here, this one here, that,
Yeah. Oh, you're saying this? Okay, so it has to be that. It's horseshit.
Yeah.
It's horseshit.
That's exactly.
Well, I think we could go on, obviously, but I think we should do a little bet over and under how many, we're just getting started. And this is the 100th episode. Which if you really think about that, that's really, really amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's never would have thought it got to 100. I didn't want to get to episode 1. Never mind 100.
I'll never forget. You're like, I said, just show up. If you just show up, I tell you what microphone, because you have to have a microphone if you say yes, because I can't hear a computer all the time. You have to have a microphone. And if I just tell you the time and here's the link and we test it before, and I'll start talking and just join in the conversation and we'll figure it out. And you finally were like, all right.
Fear dictates.
Mm-hmm. Well, I said to you later after we, became friends, I was like, why did you say no? And you were like, well, I didn't know if you were going to ask me like to read or what. And I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't even think about that. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to have to research. Am I going to have to do all? Yeah.
Yeah. And I just said, just show up. And you're like, I can do that.
Right.
And just follow the leader, and I'll take us where we need to go. And then you're a natural at this. Like, obviously, that. And have so much to share and give. And, it's funny. People do sometimes for 100, like they'll do bloopers. Like we don't really have a lot of like there's very little editing. I think in the beginning, there was a couple times where I said to our editor, like, if Brent says he's going to punch someone in the face, maybe take it out. Like if it's a little old lady or something, if it's a teacher, I was like, just because we don't want someone to take it and then run with it and say that he's, saying he's going to cause harm to a woman, because that's so not him. And so my editor, that was the only thing I think in the beginning did, but we really don't edit. We just jump on. Sometimes we have specific things that we want to talk about. Sometimes I start talking and you're like, just hit record. And
sometimes
I'm like, oh, shit.
10 minutes in the conversation. Oh, I forgot to hit record.
Yeah. And you're like, just hit record.
Or did I hit record? Did the numbers? I didn't see the numbers. Oh yeah. It was like 5 minutes ago.
And then how, attention deficit and all the things tie into, I just think there's so many things that sleep, nutrition, we've talked about hormones, I don't think there's many things that we have not touched on.
No, we'll continue to touch on, because it's all intertwined.
It is all intertwined. And as we continue to grow, the foundation continues to grow. You continue to grow. I continue to grow. I still have kids in high school as they continue to grow. We're going to have more situations that we can share.
Yep.
And more things that we're doing with the foundation that, we've said a million times that we don't talk about, because there's things that you have to kind of do behind the scenes because people fucking suck. And you can't, you can't show your hand right away. And so there's a lot of stuff happening. But things that we can share: golf event, September 15th. And then Stanley Cup, we have that date, October 17th.
Yep.
Right?
That's a Friday?
That's a Friday. Yep, the 17th. Are you checking it because you don't think I'm right?
Yeah, 17th and 18th is Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Thanks. The only reason why I know that is because Danny asked me yesterday when I was on the airplane.
I kept saying 16th, 17th.
Yeah. And so those, if you go to sopalfoundation.org, you can see those. The other thing is we have the Sopal Foundation has its 8th year anniversary. That was another 17, by the way. I'm loving the number 17. That was July 17th.
You
And
love number 17?
I am, because there's a lot of 17s that keep popping up. Something with 17.
Every month there is.
I know, thank you, but good things are happening on the date of the 17th.
Oh, okay.
Let me be clear. And then I'm seeing it in other places. So that, if you go to the website, we're doing a fun, like last year, the 7th, we did 7777.
Yep.
See, more sevens. I like sevens.
Where's the one in there? Where's the 17?
No, I know that wasn't one. That was just the ones to sevens. This one is 8,170 is what. So you can donate on Instagram. You can go, I think you can just also do it on Facebook, and you can go to the website and you can donate there as well. And so we want to hit that before Labor Day. So let's 100% get that. I'm excited to see that go over what we did last year. And that was fun because that was 7. We hit the 777, and then we had other people being like, wait, I want it. And then people that also like numbers were like, wait, I'm going to put this amount and this amount.
Yeah.
So a lot of people donated either $7 or $77 or 177, or some people did 777.
Right.
So this year, just do something. Just do something to help us get over that. So then I can say to Brent, see, we did it 2 years in a row. So that just on that, if you could just do that so I can say that would be great.
I told you so.
Yeah. I didn't say tell you so. I didn't use those words. I just said, see.
Not yet.
Yeah. So if you guys go do that, but thank you for listening. For everyone that listens, we have a lot of consistent listeners that listen to everyone, and they have said to us they've learned more, and a lot of them are teachers. They've learned more from us than they learned in school, which is a little concerning if you think about it.
Not a little, a lot, but
a lot concerning. But we'll leave it at that. And here's to another 100.
Until next time, keep fit and have fun.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't do my thing. Don't forget to like, rate, review, and share. Share, because you do not know who needs to fucking hear this. You don't know who has not been in the realm of this podcast. You don't know who is struggling because school is coming up in a lot of different states, which is just crazy because I feel like we just finished. But there's a lot of people getting ready to go back in like a week and a half. And a parent right now could be, not realizing why their kid doesn't want to go back, and their kid could be struggling and not wanting, makes me sweat, like even just thinking about it. So you don't know who needs to hear this. So like, rate, review, and share, and we will see you for another episode of Word Blindness Dyslexia Exposed.